This is a video about how to set up the Ludwig pedal mechanism. When I get drums in, they're always set up badly, and I often get, people mention problems over how the pedals are operating. The system is actually very simple. The drum head acts like a spring. So when you put the pedal down, you're stretching the drum head to achieve a higher pitch. But the drum head itself always wants to relax to go down to its lowest setting, its lowest pitch. To balance that, there's a spring inside this chamber here, which is adjusted by the big mushroom hand wheel on the top. There's another element on the side here. This is not a good example because it's a homemade version. Not mine, somebody else has made it, but it's a brake caliper underneath holding the rod that attaches the pedal to the tuning mechanism, and this is adjusted with a drum key here. So before you change the head, you need to take out all of that friction that's applied by that brake caliper, and you need to detension the mushroom, the screw. Now, detension that when the head is off. If you're adjusting the pedal while the head is on, just detension that until it's not holding the pedal. Don't go too far because that's a very fine thread and it can strip out the bronze casting that it's actually screwing into. So once you've got the head to the pitch that you want, and this is going down to an F, which is the pitch that I want, then you need to get the tension on the spring to hold the high note. The way to do that is to just stand on the pedal and screw in the mushroom screw. This is stretching the spring until it holds the pedal, and you can see as I screw it, as I detension it, the pedal lifts off the top. Don't over tighten it. All you need is sufficient tension to keep that pedal at that point there. Once that's done, the pedal can be moved by hand, quite easily. If the pedal now starts creeping forward because there's insufficient, or rather too much tension on the mushroom, that is when you introduce the friction on the brake caliper. Now this one doesn't need any, but I'm just going to put on a tiny bit to stop it from rattling around. So the friction on the brake caliper is now holding that pedal at those low notes, but when you go to the high notes, it's the spring that's holding the pedal at that top end. You don't need a lot of friction in the system. When the drums come in, they're really stiff to operate, and that's an indication of the fact that the spring and the brake caliper have just been played around with by somebody who just doesn't understand the basic principle of how they work. So I hope that's clear. Essentially, to summarize, if you've ever got a problem with it, the first thing to do, take out the brake caliper, remove that out of the equation, unscrew this until the pedal starts to rise away, set your pitch so that you got your notes that you want, and then when you go to the high notes, introduce the tension to hold the pedal there, at the top. To prevent the pedal from coming forward when it's in the low register, introduce a bit of friction on the brake caliper.